Imagine you're at a casino, standing near the roulette table. You're watching the wheel spins, and it lands on black. Again, black. And again. 5 times in a row, a man next to you smirks and says, "There's no way it lands on black again. It has to be red." Puts down 500 on red. You pause and think, is he right? Now, you might be the kind of person who spends their evenings at a casino, but this kind of thinking happens everywhere. From sports betting, lottery tickets, stock investments, even jury decisions. It's all around us. I spent time digging into behavioral economics, study journalists, and real-world cases studies of how thinking called the gambler's fallacy leads people to making bad decisions. Today I want to explain why the gambler's fallacy is and why our brains fall for it and how it causes the problem in the real world, even outside of gambling. Now, what is the gambler's fallacy? The gambler's fallacy is mistaken belief that past random events affect the probability of future ones, even which event is completely independent. Think of it like this. You flip a coin and it lands on heads 5 times in a row. Most people start to believe tails is due. But here's the truth. Each flip is 50-50. It doesn't matter what happened before. A psychologist, Daniel Kahneman, explained in his book Thinking Fast and Slow, he wrote that people tend to see patterns, randomness, and our brains are uncomfortable with the idea of chance being random. The roulette example is the idea given the fallacy its name. In gambling halls, people bet assuming that a streak has to end, but the roulette wheel doesn't have memory. Red or black streak means nothing about what will happen next. Here's a quote. In one infamous case at the Monte Carlo casino in 1913, the wheel landed on black 26 times in a row. People kept betting on red, believing that it had to come up, and people lost millions. But why does this happen? For the law of small numbers, according to researchers in Amos Verserky, Daniel Kahneman, people also misapply the law of large numbers, which says things average out in the long run to short-term events. They expect small samples to reflect on overall probability. For example, you roll a die 3 times and get 3 sixes. You think, no way, I roll a 4th one, but the chances are still 1 in 6. The pattern-seeking behavior. Humans are evolved to find patterns. It's part of our survival instinct. If you notice a rustle in the bushes meant danger, you'll survive longer than someone who didn't. But in a casino, in the stock market, this backfires. We start to see patterns in random events. Emotions and overconfidence. There's also emotion involved. After losing money, people don't like the feeling of loss, so they convince themselves a win is coming next, they're due, and it's a way to restore the control of their own mind. And for some real world consequences, like let's go beyond casinos, like the stock market, investors fall into the same trap. They think the stock has gone down 5 days in a row, which is due to go up, or worse, they sell rising stock too early and they think the streak can't last. Also, this happens in the courtroom, and it gets even serious with the legal system. Some studies show that judges and juries can fall for the gambler's fallacy too. If they just ruled guilty in several cases in a row, they might be subconsciously feel the need to call the person not guilty in the next case just to restore balance. A study by Rachinsky and colleagues in the Cornell Law Review found this kind of sequential decision bias in real courtroom decisions. So it's not just money at stake, it's people's lives. So the gambler's fallacy is a powerful and persistent illusion. It makes us believe that random events should balance out in the short term, but randomness doesn't have memory. Today we look at the fallacy and why it's so persuasive and how it affects to catch you and your feelings and how it's going to change. So next time you're in a casino, just think and pause that something feels overdue doesn't mean it's actually going to happen.